The ANC's Electoral Committee will be briefing the media shortly on the party's candidate selection process for the local government elections. What can we expect on the party candidate selection process in that party? We talk now to Natasha Phiri. Natasha, very good morning to you. What's the ANC saying?
Well, very good morning to you, Desiree, and of course to our SABC viewers. We're just waiting for that briefing that is set to start at 11 a.m. and we understand that the ANC's Deputy Secretary General, Jessie Duarte, and the head of the Electoral Committee, Mr. Kgalema Motlanthe, will be briefing members of the media about the ANC's candidate selection process of ward councillors ahead of the local government elections. But Desiree, I don't know if you'll remember, but earlier on this year, following an NEC meeting around the 9th of May, the ANC's Jessie Duarte had somewhat, taken the members of the media through this process of selecting their candidates or the ward councillor candidates. And she had said that the ANC system is that they allow the branches now to actually vote for their candidates. 4 candidates are selected, 2 females and 2 males, and the candidates are discussed for the PR list. They then convene a community meeting. They present the 4 candidates to those community members, and of course the community members vote for their preferred candidates. But the prerequisite for these candidates, Desiree, is that they must attend all ANC training on local government and complete online or USB modules of political schools or histories on the ANC, the values, the structures of the party, government and development. But those 4 candidates should actually be popular and regarded as community leaders in their various communities, and 25% of those candidates are required to be young people. But this also comes at a very interesting time. Moreover, that on Tuesday we saw the Minister of COGTA, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, who's also the chairperson of, the Ministerial Committee on Local Government, gazetting and proclaiming the date of the elections. We further saw yesterday the IEC late in the evening around 6 o'clock, lodging an urgent application to the Constitutional Court to have, those elections on the 27th of October be postponed to a date no later than February next year. So, these dynamics are very, very interesting. This briefing also comes at a very interesting time. Moreover, Desiree, you'll know that, in the city of Johannesburg, they're actually seeking to replace the late Mayor Jeff Makubo. And we know that the PEC's preferred name there for the ANC was Jolie D. Matongo, who's the MMC of Finance. And we understand that yesterday there was a national NOB meeting with those candidates. There were 3 candidates that were actually selected by the REC, namely Jolie D. Matongo. There was also MMC Mpomorian, who's also the regional, treasurer of the ANC in the Greater Johannesburg region, and Salfina Mulaudzi. So this briefing comes at a very interesting time. You actually expect, those 2 figures, Ms. Jessie Duarte and Mr. Kgalema Motlanthe, to take us and to talk us through this entire process.
Just in terms of the IEC, you spent the day with them yesterday. What sense did you get, Natasha? How easy or difficult are these decisions about whether to proceed or not with the elections?
Well, Desiree, it really isn't an easy decision. We live in unprecedented times. Nobody would have fathomed, 5 years ago, when we just concluded the local government elections, that, 5 years from now, we would be in the situation where COVID-19 has not only ravaged the lives and the livelihoods of people, but has also disrupted the calendar of the IEC. So understanding that it wasn't an easy decision to make. And their application to the Constitutional Court actually really has to be a strong one as well. I'm just reading through the court papers. There was a decision that if, other political parties who wish to contest, their court application have until the 11th of August, which is next week, Wednesday, to submit, their applications or their, I beg your pardon, Desiree. My English there just lost me. But they have to submit their opposing views to the application there of the IEC. So, I mean, just, having all these factors, into play, it isn't really an easy one. The IEC actually is caught between a rock and a hard place. One would say, damned if they do, damned if they don't. We know that various political parties were actually, divided on this very issue. You had the EFF saying that elections should not go ahead as well because people could not campaign properly. You have the likes of the DA saying that elections should go ahead, and also citing other countries saying that, America last year went to the elections, and why can't South Africa go to the elections? Because you know very well that, Desiree, in our country, the Constitution does stipulate, Constitution 159 actually stipulates that the South Africa should go to the elections every 5 years. And of course, that period has actually expired on the 3rd of August, which was on Tuesday. And now we have the 90-day period, of course, which then ends in November. So it really wasn't an easy decision to make by the IEC. But from them, it was actually, necessary, especially, regarding the recommendations that were made by Justice Moseneke in his report, saying that free and fair elections would not take place under the current COVID-19 conditions. Also citing that, having large gatherings would actually undermine the work of the South African government to actually reduce, the number of new infections. And of course, according to that report, it would not be feasible for political parties to actually campaign under this current time. So really the IEC has a mammoth task ahead of them. So, they're pinning their hopes on the constitutional courts right now to actually, grant their prayers and, somewhat rule in their favor.
Natasha Phiri, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with that story.